welcome back. As I mentioned, we have Jeff Parker here. Well, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. It's good to see you again.
You too. You too. And of course, there's lots of activities. I just got that village breeze not too long ago, so everyone should know most of the things that you're going to be telling us about. But
yeah, just kind of a reminder and talk about a few things. So we jump off on COVID real quick. Good news, again, the hospitalizations and the ICUs are trending downward really well. 175 hospitalizations and 34 ICUs. We were up at about 250 at the beginning of the month. ICUs were in the 65 range at the beginning of the month, so those have both dropped down pretty well, and that's a great trend, not only in Orange County, but they're starting to see that throughout the state of California, so that's real positive. Now, the cases up there, you see 666, but that is accumulation over the whole weekend. That's not just one day, so think of that as probably 3 days in all reality when you calculate that out. Unfortunately, 10 more people have passed away, and that, we're up at over 5,500 people since the beginning of COVID, passing away. So it's still big numbers, and I think California recorded the highest number in the United States with regards to since COVID started, with regards to fatalities. But the most important thing that I wanted to report is we're moving in the right direction with regards to hospitalizations and ICUs, so that's good news. Yeah,
well, good. Yeah, I mean, that's always been positive so far, last few weeks or so.
Yeah, relative to the village, I just want to mention we did have a little uptick in the month. We went up 12 cases. We're at now 537 cases in total. Still very low number in relative terms, and one other fatality. So we're at 55 now from 54. So that's just a one blip there, unfortunately. And the 12 cases is for this period of about a month is we saw a trend kind of going uptick, and now it's again starting to keep at a very moderate pace or starting to go down. So that's good.
Right. When we've talked about this before, is that there's a little bit of a roller coaster ride depending on sort of how many gatherings you have and how many people are inside, weather. I mean, there's so many different factors, but fortunately we are outside enough to really be able to not worry so much about being indoors. So that's a good thing for now.
And great
Keep
weather.
Keep up that great weather.
And that great weather you mentioned.
That's right. All right, well, a lot of activities happening coming up here. Of course, we've got our big shakeout.
Yeah, so the first one I wanted to mention is Thursday, October 21st at 10:21, which is the time frame where we're doing the California Shakeout drill. And so you can go on the website, the California website. It's great California stakeout websites, and it's www.shakeout.org/California, and that will provide information about the shakeout and what you should do, how you should prep. We're working with our security department and our disaster task force to encourage people to go on the website, learn about this, be aware of what you should be prepped for when and if we have an earthquake that we need to address from not a small shaker, but if we get into a big earthquake, how we're going to handle that, how we're going to be prepped, using our security department and the task force, how they've gotten their team captains together and all the groups and the people that are at the building captains and all of those activities and individuals working together to make sure that if something happens here in the village, we're better prepared.
Yes, and we actually had Carlos here not too long ago when he was telling us about the team captains and that they're actually recruiting team captains. So that would be a great time is right after that, and realize that help is needed, especially for folks who maybe are homebound and can't move around very much, because how can you prepare for something like that unless you have some help? So that would be a good thing to do. All right, excellent.
The other thing I wanted to mention, we have two things. The tennis courts are being resurfaced, and I just wanted to mention that again. We mentioned last week. Courts 6 and 7 this week are being resurfaced, so that should get completed by Saturday. And so that, again, just to improve and enhance our facilities out there and keep them in good shape. Something that we do on a regular basis, but just so people are aware of it if they happen to go out there and see it. We want them to be aware that, hey, this is an operation that we've been doing and will continue to do.
Right. Well, also, once you get on those newly resurfaced, the ball's going to stick. and your feet are going to move it all. because there's no sliding
Yeah.
at all with those new services, which is good,
and
bad, right?
you just don't want to be out there when we're actually
That's
doing
right.
the work.
Do not go out there while they're doing the work. That's right. What day was that again?
It's through Monday, started Monday, and will be done by Saturday.
Oh, okay, great. All right, perfect, good. And you guys have got some other stuff going on.
Yes, yesterday we had what we call a client services meeting, which we meet with presidents, vice presidents, some other board members on specifically an update on special projects. And so we gave them an update about our M&C department and how we're kind of setting a new reorganization of that, and Manuel Gomez is working on that. So we kind of gave them a highlight overview of how that's moving forward. Talked about our recruitment for, we're out recruiting for another director for general services.
Okay.
And so that's in the works. But the most important part of the meeting was to get our first kind of big update from Chris Macon, city manager from Laguna Woods, about the issuance of a new contract for waste management. They have issued a new franchise agreement, is what it's called, multi-year franchise agreement with a company called CR&R, and they will be starting to be our trash collector and picking up that in January.
Okay.
So we're going to be transitioning from a company called Waste Management now does it to CR&R. So there's going to be a lot of information coming out in the next 2 months with regards to this operation,
Okay.
what it's going to entail. One of the big reasons for the change and some of the increased costs, unfortunately, that's coming at us is because of a piece of legislation called SB 1383. And what 1383 was a requirement now under the state of California that cities throughout the state take organic waste, which is food waste, and grass clippings, those type of thing. That's all organic, and reduce that from the landfills. Take it away from the landfills, address it a different way through digesters and mulching and stuff like that, so that there's a 75% reduction of that going into the landfills by 2025.
Wow.
And the reason for that is that organic waste, when it goes into landfills, creates methane gas. And methane gas is one of the biggest contributors to global warming and the impact in the atmosphere.
Gotcha.
So they want to reduce that by taking it into a digesting or mulching system, which would eliminate that gases going into the atmosphere.
That's interesting.
So it's a global, it's a statewide impact, but it has a big cost associated with it, and so the implementation will be over a period of time. It won't be, they won't get hit in 1 year with the price increase. It's going to be folded into a multi-year approach. And the cities worked very hard, and they issued their franchise agreement Thursday night. And
Okay.
I wanted to get a preview. A lot of information coming down the road. We'll be working with the city and our media and communication staff to make sure that everybody understands what this means.
Yeah. Well, it is interesting because waste management has, been around for a long, long time, and then we've got another company that is doing something else. So I would assume waste management will be on their way to do the same kind of thing, right?
They're going to be doing it in different cities. It's just not here in Laguna Woods. Those contracts come up and they get renewed, and they do a bid for trying to get the lowest price and the best service.
Yeah.
So in this case, CNRR is the company of the future.
No, I like that concept. It's great. I mean, you've got people in other states that do mulching anyway.
Exactly.
I mean, they do it themselves, the decomposting, all but, and then they put it out in their yard. It's just not something we've been used to doing here.
And we're going to be looking and working with the city to address our own landscaping mulching system. Is this something that in the future we could cooperate with that? Versus what this operation is going to require is a new bin out there for people to put food waste in.
Yeah.
So we're working, they've already done a tour, they've looked at the bins and the scenarios that we have in the village. And so it's going to be complicated, it's going to be a lot of work to get it done. And like I said, we'll be getting more and more information out to everybody on this in the future.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you very much.
You're right.
And we'll be right back after this.